Did you know that Black Ops 2 was developed in just over 2 years? It's crazy to think how quickly this game was developed and how much of an influence it had on the gaming landscape. But despite this short development time, there is a goldmine of content being developed for Black Ops 2. Today, I'm going to show you all of the prototypes of Black Ops 2 that I have, including cut content, prototype versions of favorite maps, and of course, the biggest DLC for zombies ever. Join me as I dive into the early versions of Black Ops 2. To kick things off, this build is from November of 2011, which is a full year before the release of the game. And to put this into perspective, this build is from about a week after the release of Modern Warfare 3, which came out November 8th of 2011. There are some work-in-progress versions of maps from the campaign, but unfortunately none of them actually launch. This build also contains some cut weapons like the RX-4 Storm, the NS-2000, the XM25 from MW3, and the M4, which we'll see some gameplay of later. And here are the rest of the weapons with some placeholder images. Some of them are kind of duplicated, but this is the full arsenal of the Black Ops 2 weapons, including some added and some cut. Moving over to the multiplayer, as you can see, this user interface is still in very early development. It's pretty much the same UI from Black Ops 1, with the new Black Ops 2 weapons and maps. This version only comes with 2 maps, Aftermath and Yemen. There's also a lot of placeholder images in the Create a Class section. But as you can see, the weapons in here are pretty much identical to what I showed you in the campaign section of this build. And here's a little glimpse at the kill streak section as well. Loading into our first map, Aftermath, I was shocked to see how complete this map actually was. Considering the game was still a year out at this point, I was expecting more blackout geometry pieces and overall more roughness around the edges. Oh, and to note, in this build I am using the AN-94 and the CAP-40 as my weapons, so you can still see that they are a work in progress. I also want to note that I don't usually suck this bad at video games, but it was really hard to aim because anytime you would aim, the game would glitch out a little bit, so that's my excuse. Moving on to Yemen, just like Aftermath, this map is pretty polished and complete. Also, one thing to note is that the UI in this build differs a lot from the final version of Black Ops 2, notably the killstreak section. Also, just to note, the loadout I am using now is the M4 and the XM25 from MW3. Also, just a quick shout out to the lighting team at Treyarch when they were making this map. Again, this is such an early build, but the lighting in this map looks so good. One weapon that looks really close to the final version that we see in the game is the MP7. It seems like this was finished rather early on. Here's the RX-4 Storm that was cut from the game. It kind of shoots similar to the SMR, but if the SMR was good. And here's the M4A1 from MW3. What's interesting is that there are a lot of leftovers from MW3. I'm assuming because that game was just released relative to this build, and it may just have been easier for Treyarch to just rip the files from that game, just for testing. Moving on, our next build is a press-only build from July 2012, where a lot of the work was done on additional maps, and as you can see, the UI more closely resembles the final version of Black Ops 2. You can see that most, if not all, of the placeholder weapons were removed from this build, so now we only have the arsenal that Black Ops 2 shipped with. One thing to note that this build does have a more complete version of the score streak section, where a lot of these score streaks are actually the ones that shipped in the final game. I think actually all of them are. And here is a more complete version of the maps in this build. As you can tell, a lot, if not most, of the maps that the game shipped with are in this build, although some of them don't work, like Nuketown for example. Let's kick things off with my favorite map from Black Ops 2, Raid. This map is still in an early development phase, as you can tell, but one fun fact is that originally the basketball court that shipped in the final version was originally a tennis court. Stuff like that is why going through these builds is really fun, because there are such minor differences that it's so interesting to see what changed compared to the final version of the game that we spent days of our lives on. Another example is that in this area the doors should be on the right side, right? But they're actually on the left side. It's so minor, but it's so interesting. Now, of course, I have to show you Hijacked. This is another classic map from BO2, and in this build, you can see that it's still a bit of a work in progress. A lot of the textures aren't complete, and some are missing in the interiors of the ship. And just to reiterate, this build is actually from July of 2012, so it's incredible to see how much Treyarch was able to complete within just 4 months of time left for the full retail release.
That's a kill.
The next map is Express. Now, out of all the maps I was able to access, I think this one is the most finished. A lot of the inside of the train station is exactly what we see in the final version, with some areas outside of the station still needing some work done. And for the final map in this build, we have Meltdown. Again, this is one of the more finished maps in this build. There doesn't seem to be a ton of missing or placeholder textures here. But to be fair, in the prime of my Black Ops 2 era, I hadn't really played this map that much, so my memory could be a little foggy. And of course, we move on to Zombie Chronicles. Zombie Chronicles launched into Black Ops 3, but it was originally supposed to launch into Black Ops 2 around August of 2013, which is when this build was made. Unfortunately, this was cancelled due to Activision being scared that the launch of Zombie Chronicles in Black Ops 2 could take away from the launch of Call of Duty Ghosts, which is truly unfortunate. This build is very unstable without an Xbox 360 developer kit, so unfortunately there are a ton of crashes and lots of missing textures and pieces. If you want me to make an updated version of this video in the future with an Xbox 360 developer kit, be sure to subscribe and like this video so I can eventually monetize my content and bring you more goodies from the Xbox 360 era. In the meanwhile, here are some very short clips of some of my favorite zombies maps in this Zombie Chronicles build. I'm not able to play on them for long due to crashing, but I was able to capture at least some footage for you guys. Starting with Noctur on Toten. As you can see, this version is pretty similar to what we got in Black Ops 3 Zombie Chronicles, where a lot of the layout of the map is the same, but it's just completely upscaled with newer graphics and different guns, and it's beautiful. Just like Zombie Chronicles in Black Ops 3, this map also does have Mule Kick right in the opening area as well. And again, you'll see some cuts throughout this portion of the video where the gun might not be visible. This is because of the emulation that I'm running and it not being on an actual Xbox 360 dev kit. Insta-kill! And now we move on to my favorite zombies map of all time, Kino der Toten. In this version, you can actually see that the German flags have this sign that says remove, which is kind of interesting to see. Because this was in an era where games like Wolfenstein were censored in Germany. I don't know if that had something to do with it, but it is interesting to see. And next we have Shinonuma. This was a map I didn't really spend too much time with when it came out in BO1, but the matches I do remember playing on it consisted of kicking baby zombies after using the wonder weapon to turn them into little toddlers. Again, just like the previous map, despite my setup being a little scuffed, you can tell that this was a faithful recreation of the original with updated texture work. The other maps I tried loading into completely crashed for me, unfortunately, but I was able to get a couple of seconds into 5 and Moon. I'm quite upset that this crashed immediately because these maps are amongst my top 5, no pun intended, zombies maps of all time. And with that, we come to the conclusion of our excavation of Black Ops 2 prototype builds. This game holds a special place in my heart and the hearts of millions around the world. If you guys like this video and want to see more content like this, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. We're getting closer to becoming a YouTube partner channel, and once that happens, I'll be able to bring you guys even more prototype builds. And if there's a game you'd like to see me cover next, please drop a comment down below. Thank you.